Okay, welcome to our second video on the Islamic civilization on chapter 2. Alright, picking up from where we left off, starting with the Umar became the second caliph after the death of Abu Bakr. He continued the Muslim wars of conquest. Muslim armies captured Mesopotamia and the Persian Empire. After the Battle of Yarmouk against the Byzantines, the Christians, the Muslim armies conquered Egypt, Palestine, Syria, North Africa, and part of Europe called Armenia. Umar developed a large bureaucracy to govern his empire. He established a military garrison, like a military fort, in the cities of Basra and what is now Iraq. Umar began to codify Islamic law, make it into a uniform law. He also initiated the Islamic calendar starting at the year of the Hijrah, which is the year Muhammad was forced to flee to Medina. He was assassinated by a Persian slave. He is buried alongside with the Muhammad and Abu Bakr in Medina. Umar appointed a council to elect the next caliph. The council chose Uthman. And Uthman had many problems with his governors. Many tribes fought against Uthman, and he was eventually murdered by rebellious soldiers. Most Muslims supported Ali, simply known as Ali, as the fourth caliph of Islam. Shia Muslims consider him to be the first true leader after Muhammad. Ali changed the leadership of the Islamic provinces. He moved his capital from Medina, in what is now Saudi Arabia, to the heavily fortified city of Kufa, in what is now Iraq, and the Islamic Empire fell into a civil war. The first Islamic civil war is called the First Fitna. Ali's first challenger was Muhammad's widow, Aisha. Her army was defeated at Basra. Next, he battled Muawiyah, the governor of Syria. He also had to fight rebels in his own army. Muawiyah, a relative of Uthman, marched against Ali, demanding the vengeance for Uthman's death. A long battle took place in July near the Euphrates River. The story goes that when Ali began to win, Muawiyah's army attached a copy of the Quran to the point of the spears, and then exclaiming that the matter ought to be settled by reference to this book, which forbids the Muslim to shed each other's blood. Sunnis consider the Ali to be the last of the Rashdan. Rashdan is what the Muslims call the righteously guided caliphs. He was one of the first to accept Islam. He was Muhammad's cousin, and he was also married to Muhammad's daughter Fatima. Muawiyah, the governor of Syria, became caliph after Ali's death. He established the Umayyad dynasty in 661. Islam officially divided into two main sects of today, what is now Sunni and Shiites. Sunni make up about 85% of the world's Muslim population. Muawiyah's empire spanned from Egypt to the west to Iran in the east. The empire was divided into provinces ruled by governors called emirs. Muawiyah appointed many Christian administrators to oversee conquered provinces with large Christian population. Conquest brought many non-Muslims into the empire, so the non-Muslims were forced to pay a protection tax to the government. The tax brought revenues to the government. Eventually, most people in the Islamic Empire converted. Non-Arab Muslims became a majority in Persia. Most converts became Sunni. The word Arab basically means people who speak Arabic. So not all Arabs are Muslims, and not all Muslims are Arabs. In 688, Umayyads, led by Abi Malik, conquered most of North Africa, Egypt to Morocco. He made Arabic the official language of the Islamic Empire, established a common currency throughout the empire. Mosques, which is a place where Muslims pray, were built in newly conquered territory. In 690, a second civil war called the Second Fitna reduced the power of the Umayyads. Next comes along is the Abbasid, who overthrows the Umayyad dynasty in 758 and took over the caliphate, and they became the leader of the Islam. They moved the capital to Baghdad in what is now Iraq. They made Persian the second language of the empire. Baghdad became the cultural and administrative center of the Islamic Empire. Traders from as far as northern Africa, northern Europe, and all of Africa came to Baghdad to trade, and Baghdad became very wealthy. And they spent a lot of their wealth on the arts and recreation. In 751, the Abbasids captured the Chinese bookmaker. The captured Chinese taught the Muslims how to make paper. In the 8th century, they founded a school named the House of Wisdom. At the school, classical Greek philosophy, science, and literature was translated and written in Arabic. And these books were sent all over the empire, spreading the knowledge. Two famous Muslim doctors of the Abbasid period was Al-Razi and Ibn Sina. Razi is remembered for his identification of measles and smallpox. He wrote books on medicine. Ibn Sina recorded medical knowledge of the book. This book became the standard medical text in Europe for over 700 years. Abbasid period coincided with the Christian Crusade. The Crusades were the series of military operations against non-Christian. Their main purpose was to capture Jerusalem from Muslim. It started in 1071 when Pope Urban II launched the First Crusade, capturing the Jerusalem in 1099. Saladin was a Kurdish Muslim warrior. His army defeated the armies of the Crusader states in a decisive battle at the Horns of Hattin in 1187. When the Abbasid defeated the Umayyad in Damascus, Prince Abdul Rahman escaped and fled to what is now Spain. In 756, he re-established an Umayyad dynasty in Spain. So Spain for a while became an Islamic empire. He unified the Muslims in Spain and defended them against the Christian armies of Aragon, Leon, and Castile. And he made Cordoba his capital. He began the construction of the Great Mosque of Cordoba. It is the third largest mosque in the world. In 921, Abd al-Rahman III took the title of Caliph of Spain, and the population of Cordoba grew to 450,000 people. By 1000 CE, it was the largest city in Western Europe. Cordoba became the European center for Islamic learning. Umayyad power gradually started to decline. In 1085, Christian armies conquered the city of Toledo, marking the end of the Umayyad dynasty. In 1236, Cordoba was also captured. The kingdoms of Aragon and Castile united with the marriage of King Ferdinand of Aragon and Queen Isabella of Castile. In 1492, the two kingdoms drove Islam completely out of Spain, making what is now Spain and Portugal a Catholic Christian nation. Also, 1492 is the year when Columbus, with the support of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, went out to discover the short route to Asia. Instead of, he ended up discovering America. Islam gradually moved to Saharan African nations through the conquest and trade. By 8th century, there were large Muslims population in many northern African villages. Arab Muslims brought teachings and built centers for Islamic learning in cities like what is now called Timbuktu. Arabs settled in the Ghana Empire, what is now the modern-day Mauritania and Mali, around 900. Many of the people in the Ghana Empire converted to Islam, including Mandinka, who founded the Empire of Mali around 1200. He controlled the trade across the Sahara. Muslims brought literacy into North Africa. African cultures adopted Arabic writing to write their own language. New schools were founded to teach Arab and Western ideas. They also brought disunity. Many holy wars or jihad were fought in North Africa against non-Muslim villages, cities, and kingdoms. Ottoman Empire was founded by this time by the Osman, the leader of the warrior clan called the Ghazis. In 1326, he conquered the Byzantine city of Bursa and made it his capital. Ottomans eventually expanded westward into Europe. The Ottomans defeat the Christian Serbian army of the Battle of Kosovo in 1389. Ottoman Muslims ended up controlling the Balkans for a time period. Ottoman, led by the Mehmed II, captured Constantinople in 1453, ending the Byzantine Empire. Thus, the 1,000 years of Eastern Roman Empire has finally come to an end. And at this time, the city was renamed Istanbul in what is now Turkey. Solomon the Magnificent captured the Belgrade and defeated the Kingdom of Hungary. He laid siege to Vienna in Austria, but was forced back by winter. Solomon took Baghdad from the Persians. Ottoman Empire ended following World War I and the Turkish War of Independence. The Sultanate was abolished in November 1922, and the Republic of Turkey was officially declared on October 29th, 1923. Alright, don't forget to submit your hot question and take your quiz. Bring your summary.